We know the Big Ten's success this past season, and we know about the growing national discussion points that the Big Ten is really starting to inch on the territory of the SEC and become the best conference in college football. Heck, I already think they're there. I already thought that they were making those waves and those moves in 2023 when you had current Big Ten champion Michigan playing future Big Ten member and final Pac-12 champion Washington in the national championship game. And I think this year, when you look at what happened in the college football playoff with two Big Ten teams making it into the semifinals, and then what you saw throughout all of bowl season, the Big Ten getting the upper hand of the SEC in a lot of these bowl matchups, we know, you and I know, where college football is really going and how strong the Big Ten is right now. But there is one thing. There is one thing I think that the Big Ten is restaking their claim to, and one Big Ten school is reclaiming their territory, and that is not what the SEC certainly wants to hear right now. And it is the USC Trojans and that Southern California recruiting market. USC has the number 2 recruiting class in college football right now. Chad Bowden, coming in as the general manager, has done a phenomenal job at doing what USC should have been doing this whole time and focusing around Southern California and Los Angeles. It is one of the top ripe recruiting areas for talent in all of college football. But here's why this is great. It's obviously great for USC. They're getting great talent, but it's great for the Big Ten because it is a little bit of a death blow to the SEC. Now, when USC had not been recruiting Southern California as well, where did a lot of those players go? That's what I really want to start with here. Oregon, up there in the Pacific Northwest, they kind of came in and they took advantage of that opportunity, and they were able to nab a lot of good, high-quality high school players. They certainly have a head start, and they're certainly still very much in Southern California. Heck, they're just below USC, number 3 in these recruiting rankings for the class of 2026 right now. But where did all this other talent go? Where maybe if they didn't go to Oregon, where did this Southern California talent go? The SEC, they saw an opportunity. Alabama is a school specifically that saw an opportunity. There's already all kinds of talent in the southeast portion of America, but the SEC was able to get top-tier players from Southern California when USC was not able to really dominate that area. And now that USC in this class of 2026, along with Oregon, but as long with what USC is doing right now, that brings more high-quality talent, of course, to the Trojans, and thus it brings more high-quality talent to the Big Ten Conference. Like, for example, you go back to the 2020 class, Bryce Young, who was originally committed to USC, he flipped over to Alabama. DJ Uiagalelei, he went to Clemson, although maybe he didn't have the greatest career in the world. CJ Stroud went to Ohio State. All were top 40 players in the country as quarterbacks in Southern California. And USC didn't get a single one. When you have that much high-quality quarterback talent, I know this was pre-Lincoln Riley, but considering the track record that you had at the quarterback position at USC, that is inexcusable. In 2021, Texas and Georgia signed 2 players in the top 5 in the state of California. Well, they just ended up being Xavier Worthy and Brock Bowers. You fast forward to 2024, Alabama signed the top 2 players in the state, and the SEC as a whole signed 4 of the top 5 players. This is especially within these last couple of years. This is where the SEC was really able to go in there and really grab a lot of high caliber players. In 2025, this past recruiting class, Alabama signed 3 of the top 5 players in California, all top 60 players overall. But now you fast forward to the class of 2026, and now we're having a little bit of a different discussion. And now there are certainly some different talking points right now because that West Coast talent in the state of California, it is staying on the West Coast. And this 2026 class has the potential to be a very Big Ten heavy, dominated class for like the top 8 players in the state. The number 1 player in the state is a quarterback, 5-star quarterback in Rider Lines. Very heavy lean to Oregon and USC right now. Michigan, fun fact, is also involved in that recruitment as well. You go down to the number 5 player in the class. That's where you get to Cody Green, who's currently committed to Oregon. 6, 7, and 8 are all corners. Number 6 player in the state of California, RJ Sermons. He's committed to the Trojans. The number 7 player in the state is Davon Benjamin. He's an on-3 RPM prediction right now to Oregon, but USC is also a big-time candidate in that recruitment. Brandon Lockhart, the number 8 player in the state, is committed to USC. Now, I jump from number 1 to number 5 for a reason, because I want to highlight the number 2 player and the number 4 player right now. The number 2 player, Brandon Arrington. Boy, the more film that I watch from Brandon Arrington, I just drool, and a lot of other teams drool over his length as a corner and his pure track speed. Oregon and USC, very hot and heavy in that recruitment, but so is Alabama and so is Texas A&M. Mark Bowman is the number 4 player in the state. He's a great tight end prospect from Mater Dei. Boy, do they have a lot of top-level players that played for the Monarchs that are in this 2026 class. Both Oregon and USC. I think USC personally is the favorite for Mark Bowman in that recruitment. But if Brandon Arrington and Mark Bowman go to the Ducks or the Trojans, 7 of the top 8 players in California will either play for the Quack Attack or the Men of Troy. And when you look at it from a Big Ten perspective, that is exactly what you want to see. You want to see the top players in California play for either USC or Oregon. With all due respect to the Washington Huskies and the UCLA Bruins, the Cardinal and Gold and the Green and Yellow, those are going to be the teams that are going to take home the best recruits in the state of California. Those are the teams that are going to take home the best talent on the Pacific Coast. Now, here's another reason why it's a death blow for USC. Of course, recruiting rankings and all of this is certainly one part of it. And the SEC maybe not being able to go in there and get as many high caliber players is one thing. But what does it mean for USC to get all of this talent? It means that they got really good players, which means that they're going to have really good football teams. And when USC has the investment from the top down, and they have really good football teams, they have as high of a ceiling as anybody in college football. I would argue, since realignment really started to kick into gear in 2009, USC and the market that comes with them in Los Angeles is the biggest add in conference realignment. I know Texas and the SEC is certainly a candidate as well. But when the Trojans are achieving their ceiling, they will become one of the Big Ten's best programs, and they will be competing for college football playoff berths. The Big Ten already has great programs with Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State and Oregon, right? Those are 4 teams that you can probably anticipate will be in a playoff discussion year in and year out. USC is a program that should be added to that mix. Having another high-quality, consistent 9, 10, 11 win type of team on the West Coast will do even more for high-level football games out there on the West Coast. Right now, of course, Oregon is that team out west, right? Oregon is the team that's certainly at that high level and competing at that high level, but the Big Ten knows what USC can achieve. The Big Ten knows really the gold mine and the sleeping giant that is the Trojans right now. Like the facilities that they're building and having the right people inside the building right now makes USC a contender to really be that type of program. And that is just another blue blood. That's just another team in the Big Ten that's going to be in contention year after year after year, and that just strengthens them at the top. The Big Ten Conference really should have those 5 high-caliber teams competing every single year to get into the college football playoff. And, of course, you're going to have some of these other teams that really make their way in as well. But USC's recruiting success in 2026 might have the SEC's teeth chattering a little bit.